Well, good morning, and welcome to Middle Age Running Man. I'm saying that because we've got some new subscribers following the massive success of Broadway last week. There are loads more of you, 8. So welcome, formally, to the Marmy Army. Now, look, I've always been quite flippant about this, but I've now got 333 subbers, and my maths is pretty poor. But if each of you get me 3 more subbers each, then I'm going to be on 999. That doesn't work, actually. I'd be miles over. If you get me 2 subbers each, and then potentially, will I be on 999? No idea. Just get me some subbers. And if I'm one short, I'll ask my mum. I'd rather not do that because that's going to involve wiring up her router, getting her address book out, trying to sort her an email address out and a password. Either way, it's going to be complex. Get me some subbers. If I can get past 1,000 before the end of the year, that will keep me going for 12 more months. But today I'm going to be reviewing my official half marathons that I did in 2022. Enjoy. In 10th place, and it gives me no pleasure at all to say it was the Solihull Half Marathon. It was in August, but it was ridiculously hot, 31 degrees Celsius. There were no water stations particularly. It wasn't particularly well marshalled, and given how beautiful Solihull is, even though I live in Broadway now, the route was pretty poor, if I'm honest. And at one stage, they had another race going, I think it was a 10k, and they chucked us all together on the same single track road. Didn't enjoy it. Irritating race village. On the pros side, however, I got to ride my bike there and do some real damage to my perineum. Medal watch, okay, that's not too bad actually. They've skimped on the ribbon, it just says half marathon, could be anywhere. But the medal itself has got a weight to it, and it's got some Solihull based sort of background there as well. Unfortunately, it does have a rather eerie man with no face and a pot belly at the centre. I'm giving it 3 stars. In 9th position, I'm afraid, it's the Warwick Half Marathon. Early in the season, cold and bleak. And look, if I'm running around beautiful Warwick, I want to gain access to the castle, and I don't want to buy a Merlin pass. Don't remember that at all. Just remember going through an industrial estate and a steady incline. Bit of a boring course. On the positive side, however, this race was the very first time that the iconic MARM warm-up was created and seen for the first time. And also, the best public health passive-aggressive sign I've ever seen was at Warwick. In terms of medal watch, well, what's synonymous with Warwick? A shield, something medieval, a bear and a staff. What we've got is a red and yellow, not sure about the colours, Harlequin vest with some Chinese symbols. I'm going to give that a 2-star. In 8th position, it's unfortunately Leamington. It's the second time I've run it, and it's the second time that it's been really hot and I've nearly soiled myself. Wouldn't have been so bad, but in Leamington, let's not forget, this was the race where they misplaced an entire toilet block. It's also the second time that they've had to delay the start. Now look, in high temps, you don't leave dogs in hot cars. Poor analogy, but you know where I'm going with it. On the positive side, some of the start and finish was pretty good. Went past the pump room and dear old Bob was there to greet, so I enjoyed that. I love Leamington as a whole, but it's unlikely to be one I'll run next year. In terms of medal watch, well look, they've gone for an elephant, and if you watch my Leamington edition of MARM, you will see the history behind the elephants and their link to Leamington. But Leamington, unfortunately, is in 8th place, and the medal gets a 3-star. In 7th position, and it might surprise a few people because it's one of my favourite half marathons, I'm going to do it every year regardless, it's the Oxford Half Marathon. Now it's beautiful, the location is superb, you get a really good weekend out of it, but it's expensive. And as many of you will have seen this year, the goodie bag was an absolute joke. They sent us all the way back to the race village to give me a jute bag with a peanut protein bar within it. Nothing else, no t-shirt, for environmental reasons. They must think I'm stupid. If we have a look at medal watch, what's that got to do with Oxford? It's just got Oxford Half written all over it. Must try harder. Medal, 1 star. Bit of a curveball this one in 6th, never run it before. It's Compton Vernie half marathon. Now I'll go straight into the cons first. It is actually a little distance from my house, and actually that's the thing with a check-in desk where you have to pick your number up. It just means that you've got to get there unnecessarily an hour early. I hate check-in desks. Also, the toilet facilities weren't great. If you remember, I blocked up the disabled toilets in Compton Vernie Museum. On the pros side, however, it was the place I made my first running friend, Jason.
There's Jason.
From who had his own
I need to try and
YouTube
catch him.
channel called
Jason!
And I also met a chap at the end who didn't leave his name. He shouted, "Subscriber, subscriber!" And I came 14th. I like Compton Vernie half marathon. I'd run it again. If you have a look at their medal, it's an absolute beauty. Look, it's purple. There's real weight to it. Actually, the medal I think is my numero uno. I'm giving it 5 stars. In 5th position, it is the Cheltenham half marathon. Now I love dear old Chelters, and on the positive side of things, it was great to start and finish at the iconic race course. Really good atmosphere, loads of support both at the start and the end. It was really, really well organised. Great route, actually takes you through the town, so the lovely architecture. They actually bothered to close some roads. Take note Solihull, take note Warwick, you can't skimp. On the negative side of things, they send you around the race course for the last 2 miles, and that's a bit boring and a bit of a slog. Don't really see why they need to do it, to be honest. You want to behave like a horse, we'll treat you like a horse. I suppose that's what they're saying, that's their voice. On Medal Watch, really interesting, they went for a wooden one, and you can see there in the background, they've actually thought about it, they've got a picture of Pittville Punt Room, which is an iconic building in Cheltenham. Is it eco-friendly to have wooden medals? Not quite so sure. Could it actually just save them on the weight of freight shipping? I think probably. Either way, I'm not Greta Thunberg. I'm Greta Runberg. I'm going to give the medal 4 stars. In 4th position, it's the Shakespeare half or full marathon, and this year I did the full. On the cons side of things, actually, doing the full marathon, doing 2 laps is actually mentally quite challenging because you know exactly how far you've got to go when you're along the route. Could work in your favour. For me, I struggled with it a little bit and I would have appreciated a longer course. On the positive side of it, it's right in the heart of Stratford. There's some beautiful countryside to run through. It's really, really, really well organised. I love this race. On the medal side of things, well, look at this. It's beautiful. Actually, on the ribbon, it tells you that I did the full marathon, not the half. And that's quite important when you put yourself through that sort of personal pain and agony. And look at it, they've actually thought about the design. They've got Shaky running naked through Stratford with a medal round his neck. Superb. I love Shakespeare and I love this marathon.
No more shall that thing of Cawdor betray our bosom interest. Go, pronounce his present death, and with his former title greet Macbeth. What he hath lost, noble Macbeth hast won.
In 3rd place, and perhaps surprisingly, I'm going to go for the London Landmarks Half Marathon. Now look, I'm going to get straight in with the pros. If you've never done this before, you should do it. Actually, it probably is the best race on the calendar. You can't really go wrong running around London Landmarks. It is really interesting. It's packed. The atmosphere is fantastic. It's a really decent flat course where I set my PB of 1 hour, 27 minutes. Took the family down with me and I loved it. On the cons side of things, it is extremely expensive and it's difficult to get into. What you want about London? Not good enough for you, mug. We've got some medieval, Gothic, baronial architecture mixed in with postmodern and it ain't good enough for you. You want to run round the countryside tracking in Warwick? Why, I'll see you, you muck. The freebies are excellent, wonderful goodie bag. Take note Oxford, you're expensive too. Medal watch, look, I don't think you can get any better than this. It's not only a beautiful medal, but it also folds into 2. It's Big Ben. And actually there's a little tag there for you to get your time personally engraved. It's a money grabbing exercise, but either way, it's a well designed medal. Well done, London. And in 2nd place, It's really difficult to say this. It was Broadway last week. This was my first ever trail run and I can't tell you how much I enjoyed it. The location is amazing. It was really well organised. I've never done a trail run before. I've never met half of Broadway before. I've been in touch since with Nige. I've been in touch with Fiona. I've been in touch with Emma. Honestly, I have the fondest memories of this race. I thought it was excellent. On the cons side of things, again, I don't particularly like a race number pickup. Even if it is in the Lifford, it just means that you have to get there ridiculously early. I'm also a bit annoyed, if I'm being really honest, that I didn't get my mug. Other than that, Broadway was excellent. And let's have a look at the medal. I'm going to give it 3-star. A decent design, at least it's got the icon of the tower there. Yeah, not bad. And in number 1 position was the Kenilworth Half Marathon. This was a massive surprise. I'd always looked at this and thought, oh, shall I not? It is superb. It was really well organised. The course was pretty tough actually, but I didn't mind because it was really interesting and it was really well run. Not too far to travel, parking good, goodie bag superb, really nice atmosphere at the end, loads of support. Cons, look, it is a pretty hilly course. And the other thing is while you're running, you do get a lot of support. Loads of cheering. There's people on microphones, there's people banging drums, but they're only really doing it for the people in Kenilworth Running Club. Right? If you're not wearing a Kenilworth Running Club vest, you can forget it. Right? You get about as much attention as a middle child. But I've got to say, all-round package comes out at number 1. I will definitely be doing this next year. Medal watch, well look at that, you can't get much better than that. A beautiful design of the iconic Kenilworth Castle. It's got a good weight to it. I'm going to give that a 4-star. What an excellent medal. Well, there you go, Marmers. Those, in my opinion, are 10 half marathons rated and fairly reviewed. If you disagree, whatever your comments are, whack them in the chat. You know I'll reply within seconds. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I will see you next week when I have a very, very, very special guest.